is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now.
Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it.
Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now.
Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, welcome everyone to the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction live coverage. It is Sunday, May the 28th, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. I would like to thank you all for joining, listening, podcast, YouTube, wherever you may be. Thank you so much. If you are not yet subscribed, please take a moment and do so. Let's bring out our co-host, Mr. Josh Madigan from the Hockey Cards Gongshow. Josh, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I am doing fine myself as well. Thank you very much. I was actually this afternoon listening to some of your podcasts that you dropped 3 days ago. At the time, it sounded like the Carolina Hurricanes still had a chance to come back from their 3-0 deficit, but you and Troy were saying that, what has that only been done 4 times in the history of the NHL? So it wasn't likely. And of course, as we saw, that did not happen, and Troy's pick for the Stanley Cup champ is not going to come to fruition this year. So, where are you at nowadays? Who do you think is gonna take this thing?
Well, I don't know. I know that only 4 teams, I think out of 204 instances now, have ever come back. And we'll start on the Western Conference side because that's still the series going on. I'm starting to believe that Dallas might actually have a chance after the last couple games. And I think if Ottinger can really get it together and put together 2 solid games, that I think it might happen. And it would be great for the hobby to have Jason Robertson and Ottinger in the finals as well. But I don't think either Vegas or Dallas is beating Florida. I just really believe they're the team of destiny at this point.
Yeah, I do too. I must say I am with you on that. I think it's Florida's for the taking, but whatever team comes out of the West is really they're going to be going through some challenges to get there, and whoever gets there will be on a bit of a rush. I think a high from getting past what is looking like is now turning into an actual series. One more win for Dallas, and all of a sudden, Game 7, just like Boston and Florida in the NBA right now. That's they're going to Game 7. Yeah. Tomorrow's a big night for basketball and hockey, so it'll be fun to see what happens. Well, we have 258 hockey cards up for auction on the PWCC platform tonight, Josh. We together basically selected 30 that we're going to focus in on tonight, so we will get to those momentarily. Yep. But let's just welcome the crowd. The professor is back yet again. Looking forward to having you here, Professor Jake Dahl. Good evening. Aaron is here, Lapper's Hockey Card Flips. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel by the same name that you see on your screen right now. We've got Phil, the Loud Collector. Check out his YouTube channel, The Loud Collector. And the Currency Project is here. And that card, that's a Jordan. They've done a LeBron as well that is killing it right now on eBay, over $1,000. I saw they did an Instagram post today, 50 viewers on that item in their Ledger project. So good to have the Currency Project with us again. Well, let's get into the cards, Josh. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, so here we go. Now, we are hoping, and Aaron Lapper, I'm counting on you, buddy. Let me know how my audio does, because you did let me know last night. But here we go, guys. We've got only, so this is interesting. We've got 2 cards from 1911, and then we're going to skip all the way to 1953. So the 2 from 1911, the C55 series, we've got a Bobby Rowe and we've got a Didier Petrie. And I love this series. I'm putting it together myself in PSA 5 condition or better, and not just any 5. It's got to be a 5 that I like. And these are both very nice. I have them already, so I'm not going to be bidding on them tonight, but I thought, these are great cards. This is the C55 series, I do think, is the most popular of the 3 tobacco era series in hockey, the 1910s, 11s, and 12s. I think it's because of their artwork, the hockey stick frame coming up the sides. People really love these, and it's just a wonderful set overall. So we'll see how these two do tonight. And then we've got the Jean Beliveau in a PSA 2 that has the above average eye appeal rating. And when I look at this little on my screen, this looks like a really nice copy for the grade. I get excited about this copy. I'm going to open it up and let's take a peek at this card. And the reason I get excited is because it just seems so uniformly centered. The corners have even roundness to them, which I like, natural rounding on my corners on a vintage card. So I'm not seeing any creasing, and it's sometimes hard to see, but just in this top half of the card, I don't see any creasing. This top left corner is nice even rounding. Same with the top right. You come down, I still don't see any creases, but I have to think there's something here for this 2 grade. The bottom right corner, nice for what it is. Same with the left one. And then as you just look at the card overall, you notice that it does have toning to it. It is not a freshly pack pulled card. This card has been exposed to the elements, to oxygen and air, and maybe even some cigarette smoke in various houses along the way. It's got some nice toning to it, but for a 2, I must say, I really, really like the looks of this card. Again, for what it is in the grade, I think it's an amazing copy for a 2. I really, really do. It's at $800 right now. Josh, what are your thoughts on our first 3 cards of the night here?
Well, first of all, it's amazing to see cards that are 12 years old in that good a shape to begin with. And we did the Didier Petrie, their Cannonball, as we call that, which is his nickname. We reviewed his hockey lineage a little bit, and kind of interesting story. One of the first Montreal Canadiens. And so, I think this is just a great card. And like I said, it just amazes me how old this card is and how relatively good shape that it's in. Love that card. And then the Beliveau is that one of the nicer 2s you would ever see? It just
easily.
And so what an amazing opportunity to have a card that typically that it's very nice to look at, would cost you a pretty penny. It's relatively pretty good deal right now because of that grade. And I was thinking, I think, Jeremy, along the bottom right corner, there's a little bit of loss there. And that might be where the PSA 2 right there.
Yeah, I'm seeing this whatever this is over here. We're seeing this over here. Yeah. The thing is that, maybe over here too, a little bit of surface loss, surface paper loss, we would call it. The nice thing about if that is in fact some surface paper loss, the nice thing is that it's on the border. It doesn't come onto the image of the card anywhere within the card image itself. So, but again, you're getting what is technically a card that is in good condition. Good translates to a 2. And so, you're obviously going to have some issues with it, but you put this thing literally hold it at arm's length, look at it with your naked eye, and for a 2, this thing is really nice. I just noticed something else just right over here, and I don't know if this is just stain. I think it's staining right here, almost maybe like it was someone spilled something on it or blew their cigarette on it, cigarette smoke. I don't know. I'm just totally guessing there. But for such a beautiful card in such low grade, I definitely agree with PWCC's eye appeal rating, and I'll go as far as to say with the caveat that I've never held this card in hand, so I can't tell. But I'm almost surprised that PWCC didn't give it a better eye appeal rating. This is the above average is the A, superior is the 5, and I'm just forgetting the middle one. A, S, and there's above average, superior,
exceptional.
Exceptional, thank you. I'm almost surprised that this didn't get the E ranking for top 15%, because I don't think I've ever seen a 2 this nice. But anyway, that's where I'm at on that one. So this card would definitely get my blessing for anyone who is interested in picking it up, as would these two. These two are also very nice for the grade, and I know I'm almost done this whole complete set for the C55. So, all right. Well, before we go on, just want to say hello to Todd McDonald. Good to see you. Eliminator, nice to see you. Name is in the house. What's going on? Good to see you all here. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let's go to the next three. So we're going to skip from 1953 Jean Beliveau all the way over to the 1979 Wayne Gretzky. We've got an OPC and an SGC 2.5. Let's take a look at this because there are people who are looking for SGC 2.5s. Wayne Gretzky. So obviously the first thing you notice is the centering. Not only is it horribly off-centered to the left, but there's also tilt going on, and you can see just how narrow the border is right up here, and it gets wider and wider as you come down. So this is some counterclockwise tilt. You know, not a card that I would want in my collection, but it's still, a lot of people want to own a Gretzky, and they want to get in at the price point that makes sense for them, and this might be that. Other issues with the card, corners, top left corner has issues, top right corner has issues, bottom right. I mean, the corners are actually pretty good for the grade, I would say, but there are issues with them. And let's look at registration. You can tell right away the word Oilers is on a much lower plane than the word Edmonton here. So we definitely have a registration issue. You can even see it. This is pretty, I don't know that I've ever seen it really this pronounced, where you see this blue shadow. Do you see this blue shadow coming off the right of his face here? Do you see that, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that. I'm not sure what this business is right here. Some sort of print spot. Look at the logo on his jersey. It's almost as if you need your 3D glasses on to decipher the registration here. You can see it on the nines, on his sleeves. His gloves look a little funky. You've got the serious orange like shadow again coming off of his legs, which on a card that was well printed, you wouldn't see that. And then you can tell that the oil drop itself is down and to the right in the pocket. So, but again, I think it's appropriately graded at a 2.5. I can't see grading it any higher, but I also can't see grading it any lower. SGC doesn't use qualifiers. If this was in a PSA slab, it might have been a 3 OC or a 3.5 OC, maybe a 4 OC, something like that. The condition overall isn't bad. It's purely printing errors or printing deficiencies that caused this card to get such a low grade. It's the centering and the registration that really hurt it, in my opinion. Josh, what are your comments on this card?
Well, this one's hard for me to get by. I feel like it was the printer's first day. And
yeah.
It's really interesting too, if you go back to just the main screen to compare this 2.5 to the Jean Beliveau. No doubt in my mind, which is the more aesthetically pleasing card at the PSA 2 is the Beliveau, where there's just so many things that you've very well pointed out with the Gretzky, so many issues and things going on with the card that it's hard for me to appreciate the card, where I can look at this PSA 2 Beliveau and really have that appreciation for it because I'm not distracted. And maybe I'm just a guy that's easily distracted by off-centering and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, and listen, you're not alone on that. We have Chris Macri in the chat who says the Petrie and the Beliveau are both my cards. Bid away, fellas. Well, that's nice to hear. And I have to ask you, Chris, why are you selling this Beliveau? Did you upgrade it? Because I think it's a fantastic copy, again, for what it is. And maybe you can, in the chat, shed some light onto, maybe it's not as wonderful as I think it is. But maybe let us know any additional details you may have, Chris. I think that would be pretty cool. Jake Dahl has his eye on a card. Well, good luck, Jake. Hopefully you can take something home. We also have a pack of 84 O-Pee-Chee, an unopened pack, graded a PSA 9, 84 O-Pee-Chee. You can get a Steve Yzerman rookie out of here, a Doug Gilmour, a Cam Neely, Pat LaFontaine, Tom Barrasso, Dave Andreychuk, Troy Murray. I mean, the list goes on and on and on in this set. And I love, personally, I have one of these, probably in a 9 as well. I love my unopened pack collection. So certainly encourage people to join me in enjoying unopened packs. And then this 85 O-Pee-Chee, Mario Lemieux in an CSG 8.5. Let's take a little bit of a look at this card and see why it didn't grade higher, because at first glance from the small screen it looks really nice to me. Centering is really good for for a Lemieux rookie, really good. I think I see the problem though. I think it's a surface issue. Right in this area here, we've got some business going on right here. You got some more of the business over here. A little bit of some print specs up over here, but the top corners look really good. Again, you can't tell exactly with on a two-dimensional view with a white border. Bottom corners look great as well. Edges look wonderful. I don't know. I would think that without this surface issue right here in this little upper left-hand quadrant, I think this is a 9 all day if it wasn't for this. Those are my thoughts. Josh, what about you? Any comments on the Lemieux or the unopened pack?
Is that a registration issue on the bottom? Look right above the yellow bar where it has his name to the left.
Yeah, slight. Right there, you can see a little bit of a shadow coming above the black line. You got a bit of it over here too, I think. So I think it is, Josh. It's, I like to look at the Penguin then to see if there's any misregistration issues here.
Sure.
This seems pretty perfect. There
good.
might have been a slight, maybe not enough ink right here across the top of the head of the Penguin. Lemieux's face looks really clear to me, so there might be a very slight registration issue, but I don't think that it would impact the grade. I'm seeing a comment here. CC says paper loss in the back of the Mario rookie. Well, we got to go look at that. So we're gonna have to open this up because I can't believe that there's paper loss. I'm not denying what CC is saying, but I find it hard to believe that any card with paper loss would grade an 8.5. So let's go take a look at the back of this card, and let me just do it this way. Let's open this thing up and see where we might have some paper loss. We've got some surface issues, but I don't consider any of that paper loss. Oh, he must be... this right here. Ooh, to me, this is overgraded. Yeah, thank you, CC, for pointing this out. This right here... That's significant damage. It's almost as if they didn't turn the card over and look at the back when they graded this one, is my opinion. I wouldn't be buying this card, personally.
So on the front, Jeremy, and I've never asked you this question, what's your thoughts on, so if somebody looked at this card and said, well, and I don't want to name any companies' names just because I don't know where this conversation is going. I honestly don't. But like on the card cleaning companies that have products that ostensibly would help a surface issue like that, is that altering a card in an unethical way? Or do you think that, no, if somebody was to try something like that on the front of the card?
This stuff here?
Yeah.
If this is wax, or flour from the piece of gum and somebody took their thumb and just wiped it off, I mean, I don't know. That's, I just don't know what the right answer is for that.
Okay,
you know why?
fair
Because
enough.
it's, some people are going to say, no, you can't do anything to a card after it came out of a pack. Well, but then again, kids played with cards in the 80s and threw them against walls, put them in their bike spokes. So I put a reel up today on my Instagram. That was alteration, but it was innocent alteration. It was, there was no malintent there at all. But now if you were to take this card and you could, if you could get rid of this issue, I don't even know what this issue is to speak to what it would take to get rid of it. If it is a scuff on the surface of the card, I don't know how you'd fix it without adding back color. And then of course I'm staunchly against that in any case. So, but if it's flour, blow it off. I don't have an issue with that. If it's wax and you want to take a microfiber and wipe it off, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what the general consensus is on that.
The other comment I'll have, and it'll seem counterintuitive because I agree with you in this case that I think the card is overgraded. You're probably right that likely the back corner issue was missed. But in general, and I actually did, I think it was in the fall, a whole bunch of research into, because and we'll see if you agree with this, but I tend to think that CSG generally are pretty good graders, and there is a definitive CSG discount on cards that, especially on the modern stuff. So like a CSG 10 compared to a PSA 10 or something like that. Or is CSG, are they 9.5 or 10 scale? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't think there's a 9. I don't think there's a 9. No, I don't think they have a 9.5.
Okay, so they're on a 10-point scale, but so they're equivalent of a gem mint. You can find a lot of pretty good deals, but obviously you got to look at the card and not just the grade. And here's example number 1 of why you should always do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and let's just zoom out. So when you look at it, even at this, you can see it at sort of a normal viewpoint. You can see this damage, it's paper loss, but it's real, like it's pretty bad. Like when I look at it, that's a significant damage on the lower right corner here on the reverse of the card. So I don't know what the grade should be, but I definitely think that 8.5 is high. I think it's a 6 at best. I can't. Now the front does present very well, except for this surface issue, but you can't get around the fact that there's significant damage to the body of the card. It's just there. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say don't buy this card because you might not care about the back of your card. If you're someone who doesn't care about the back of your card, then this card is great. You should get it at a discount. What's it at right now? It's at $5.75. So for an 8.5, I mean, right now it's really cheap. PWCC gave it the top eye appeal rating. I don't know if their eye appeal rating takes into account the back of the card. By this, I would think it doesn't. I'm baffled by this card. I'm baffled by both the eye appeal rating and the grade given by the third-party grading company. I think they both missed something on this one. So,
I got a little comparison for you here. PSA 8.5 last sold on May 7th for $1,010. So so this isn't that great of a deal right now then for what you're getting. I would, I mean, listen, I'm just gonna say it like I see it. I wouldn't want to own this card, and I would not advise anybody watching to bid on this card. I just don't think it is as good as it's made out to be here. So anyway, let's move along. Here is a PSA 7. So the front here on this one certainly does not present as well as this one, but without looking at the back, I'm gonna assume it doesn't have any significant damage on the back or paper loss. But Lemieux himself looks really good. It's got that same blue shadow right here, Josh, that we saw on the CSG copy. Centering wise, easily off center, easily within a 7. I don't think it's misgraded by any means. We don't have those surface issues here that we had on the other copy. Corners look pretty good. I mean, without being able to hold the card, edges look good to me, to the extent that I can even see them with these ridges in the PSA slab that do kind of sometimes hide an edge here and there, just based on how the card is actually sitting at the holder at any specific time. But I mean, hey, it's a decent copy for a 7 if you're willing to take on an off-centered 7 into your collection. Sticking with the theme of the unopened packs, we have the 84 pack here. We have the 86 pack over here, also in a PSA 9 holder. This is the 86 series, so you can get yourself if you were to open it, which I don't recommend doing. I do collect these, as I said, but I don't open them. I like having the pack itself. The unopened pack, to me, is the collectible. It is the memento. And I love the looks of these things. I just think they present really well. They display super nicely. You don't really need to worry about sun or anything like that on them. And so in this pack, though, you could get a Patrick Waugh rookie, a Wendell Clark rookie. There's also the second year Mario Lemieux rookie card in here, among many other Hall of Famers like Wayne Gretzky and so on and so forth. So a fun item. It's at $200, whereas the 84 is at $90. And I would expect the 84 to sell. I think the 84 would that. No, I guess it wouldn't sell for more. I guess the Patrick Waugh is the driver of this, but to be double, I'm a little surprised. But I don't track these. I just love them. I don't track them. I just love them.
And then finally, we're going to skip all the way from 86 to 1995 with a 95 Finest Gretzky refractor with the coating still on. The peel is still on. It's at $195. It's the gold refractor. And it's a nice card. I don't own this card, but it's one that I would one day consider grabbing. What I do like, now I do prefer the look of refractors with the peel off. They just look nicer when the peel has been taken off. But the nice thing about this one that does have the peel still on is that none of these words, Topps Finest, Protector, Peel, it says peel and remove coating. So they wanted you to peel and remove it, but they're not really over any key parts of the card. Nothing's over his face. Nothing's over the chest logo, this Captain C, even the 99 you can see. Kind of comes over his gloves. You know, his name is pretty much in the clear except for the letter K over here. So this is, if I were to want one of these with the peel on, this copy would be right up my alley. So this card certainly gets my blessing in a conservative 9 grade. And I say that because, you know, it's 9s are fine. Hashtag 9s are fine. So I like this card. What about you, Josh? And the pack, if you'd like.
Well, Frank Porco's got me addicted to late 90s inserts and parallels. So for that reason, I just love this card. My only negative, and it's some quirky, stupid thing, but not a big fan of what I call the turtleneck era Gretzky cards. When he was when the St. Louis Blues, that's always bugged me, but it's an amazing card.
The turtleneck area, that's true. I just want to have a look and see. I just noticed something. I don't know what's going on right in this area here. That might be a scratch on the peel or something like that, which my eye does tend to go there now that I see it. But again, maybe that's why it's not graded a 10. I'm not sure. The centering looks to be within 10 standards, maybe not perfect, but within the standard of a PSA 10, which I think can go to 60-40 on the front, which I think is a loose standard for a 10 centering. So there we go. There's the top 3. A couple more comments here. So Chris Macri is just flipping the Beliveau, never actually held it yourself. Well, Chris, I think we should be able to help you get a bit more for it because I love the card. And it's funny, you know, on this card here, I think PWCC over eye appeal assessed it, whereas this one, I think they might have under eye appeal assessed it. So good luck to you on that. In any event, Currency Project says, as far as adding color back to a card, unless it's for art, of course. Unless it's for art, I'm totally with you. Good evening, 90s hockey collector. Lapper corrects us. CSG does have a 9.5. Thank you for that, Aaron. Mod Cult, good evening to you. And hashtag turtleneck era, trademarked now by name. And so you guys might have to
I have to go to court now.
You guys need to put a contract together. All right, let's go into 2003. Topps Pristine Refractor. Marc-Andre Fleury rookie at a 199 in a PSA 9 holder. It's a pop 4 with 4 graded higher. I like these Topps Pristine refractors. Actually, I love them. I think they're really, really cool. This is an uncommon rookie. There were different levels back in this year. And this card is numbered at a 199. I'm gonna guess that you can buy this tonight for cheaper than you can get his Young Gun for. And
well, it's $39 right now, Jeremy.
It's $39. Yeah. What does his Young Gun sell for, Josh? Do you know? Off the top of your head, any guess even?
I guess $300-400 for a PSA 10, which I would compare this to, even though it's a PSA 9, but this is numbered at a 199.
Yeah, so this is one of those cards where, and now I should say that there is another parallel version in the product out of 33, I think. That might not have been for the rookies, I should say. I'm not 100% certain, but there were some gold refractor die cut where the top edge is die cut out of 33 in this series. And I'm not sure if Fleury would have one in there. So I would want to research and know, is this the lowest print run parallel for Marc-Andre Fleury in this 03 Topps Pristine set? And if it is, this is a really cool card. And I was
dramatically wrong. It. Last PSA 10 sold in early December for $1,740 US. $1,740.
So this thing's a steal right now. Lapper's not too happy with us, so he must be trying to make a move on. He says, move past the flurry. Nothing to see here. Well, Lapper, at least you know that this flurry has the Jeremy Lee seal of approval on it for anyone who might be going for it. But hopefully I don't bring you too much competition. But I do love the card. I really do. They're just beautiful in hand, and to move around under the light and just enjoy the refractive nature of them. But let's move on. For nothing, if nothing else, than for Lapper's sake. And let's go to this Brian Trottier here. This is from a very, I think it's an important series. These 2004 Ultimate Collection patches. At the time, these were the biggest patches we had ever seen. 0405 Ultimate. And this one, it's not the most interesting patch, mostly white with some orange. But if we take a peek at it, what I like is this puck mark. Seems to be some puck or stick mark, something. You're getting some game worn action right here. You've got some stitching right here. You got some orange peeking out down there, some more orange across the top with a bunch of more stitching. Again, not the most interesting patch, but a very interesting card. Brian Trottier, Hall of Famer. I just think it's a cool card and one that I wanted to highlight tonight. Before we talk about the Crosby rookie, Josh, any further comments on the flurry or anything about the Trottier?
Well, for Aaron's sake, we'll move on from the flurry, but I hope you get it. The Trottier has me all tied up in knots because I agree wholeheartedly with everything you're saying. I can't decide. I think it's the worst looking best patch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
But the saving grace for it for me is the puck mark. That is kind of awesome.
Agreed.
It's more than kind of awesome. It's really awesome.
It is really cool. The puck mark is really cool. This is a card that I knew back in the day. A handful of people were working on the set of these. There's only 35 of each card, and I'm certain that several of them are locked away in various player collections. So it's just a nice piece. If anyone's looking for a unique Brian Trottier game-worn patch card, this one I would certainly recommend. And then finally, in this third row that we're looking at tonight is a 0506 Black Diamond Sidney Crosby rookie card, a true rookie card, BGS 9.5. It looks like it has 2 9s, a 9, and a 9.5, with corners being the weakest of the grades. Now, when you look at this, you're seeing a whole bunch of action on the surface, and I have to think that this is just on the slab. And the reason I say that is because look up here, in between the card and the label here, you're seeing all sorts of scratches. Now this here and this here, this isn't damaged. This is actually the texture of the surface of the card, and just the light is bouncing off it funny. You're seeing some more of it here. You're seeing some of it under the armpit here. That is not anything that's going to bother you in person, I do not think. What might bother you is that the slab has been trashed. The slab looks pretty trashy to me. So what you can do though is grab your Maguire's polish and clean up the slab, and it'll really help you remove a bunch of those, and that might be a way to improve the presentation of this particular card. Personally, I've always loved the Black Diamond rookies of Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, both out of this product. Pulled an Ovechkin once back in the day when I opened up a box locally here at Maple Leaf Sports, but I think this is I think that the Black Diamond, it's one of those, if we talk about tiers of Crosby rookies, you've got the Cup, the SB Authentic, and the Young Guns. Those are all top tier, depending on what price point you shop in. But those are all the 3 most sort of important ones. And then I feel that the Black Diamond is kind of that next tier of importance, along with others like the Ice out of 99, I think is that next tier. Different price points, but I feel that there are tiers within the price points, or vice versa. So that's why I say that. But yeah, you got to be able to be willing to take this and deal with the banged up slab. Well, Josh, your thoughts?
Oh, I kind of have a lot of thoughts on this card, and I'm really glad that you highlighted it tonight. I guess where I'll start is, and we've talked about this before, kind of you zig, I'll zag. And I think as opposed to a Crosby Young Guns, this is a really interesting rookie. So I just looked up his 2005 Young Guns BGS 9.5, and it's got a pop of 2,317. This has a pop of 397. So what's that? Almost 6 times less, 5.5 times less the population. I totally agree with you that it's unfortunate the slab it's in. I think a very smart move for whoever the buyer is would be to send this into Beckett and have it reslabbed in a nice clear slab. I can't imagine that it helps an auction like this because we're very visual in how we look at these cards, and I just don't think it helps it. And then the other thought I have on this is I agree with you. I really like these rookie cards, and I think now for the last couple years, Upper Deck in the extended series, which is a flagship product that for the 2022-23 comes out on June 7th, they've been including these parallels. And I really I think they're fun to pull out of extended, but I wonder if they hurt the value of that. It makes something like this card feel less special because they're identical in nature. They're just tribute cards, right? Where you could get a Matty Beniers and put it next to the Sidney Crosby, and you wouldn't have any idea which is the 2022 card versus the 2005 card. And so it kind of brings back to that, what's the place of tribute card questions to me a little bit, because this design has been so prominent for the last couple of years in extended.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I don't think that it has that the fact that Upper Deck is using the design in modern products, I don't think that's going to impact the value of this because they're doing it for all the rookie cards from that year.
Yeah,
They've done it for the artifacts. They've done it for the cup. They've done it for ice. They've done it for many of them. So it's just what they're going to do it for all of them eventually. So if it does, it's going to go across it would be applicable to everything. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I don't love that they're doing that either. I think they're overdoing the whole tribute thing, and I'd like to just see more original designs moving forward, or just do it sparingly and not just hammering us with these all the time. So, all right, well, let's go back to here, and let's go to the next group of 3. So this is a Crosby rookie year sign of the times. Sign of the times being probably the most prestigious on-card auto and ongoing insert name from SP Authentic over the years. I mean, there are others. There's chirography, and there's more. I know. Actually, SP Authentic gives us some very nice pack pulled on-card autos every year. But this is a look at the nice big autograph, full body shot of Sidney Crosby. I think it's a beautiful card. Pop 6, 5 graded higher. It's a $9,000 for a rookie year auto. I like this card. The 05, this is from the rookie update set, and it's got a dual. So this is a true rookie card of Alexander Ovechkin, and he came paired. It's called Rookie Inspiration. So there were 30 cards in the set, let's say. Every player had an inspiring player paired with them and had their autograph. And these are on Avery labels, so they're not stickers. It's not really on card, but this Avery label that's in there is part of the construction of the card itself, because it is actually underneath the top layer of the cardboard. And I know I've owned this card before. I had the whole set actually. So this is a BGS 9. The autograph's got a 9, and the reason why the autograph's got a 9 on this really is simply because you can see that the autograph goes under the window here, and same with on Ilya Kovalchuk down here. You're just missing a bit of the auto because of the way, if he would have signed this a couple millimeters higher up on this label, well, then that wouldn't have happened for him, but it might have still got the lower grade for Kovalchuk, who took up a lot more room. So, but these are really cool cards. They're there's only 199 of them. And there are a portion of them, well, not on Ovechkin, actually. I think that's a Crosby issue, so I'll just leave that alone. Won't get into that technicality. But it's a true rookie. It's a true rookie card, and one that I think is pretty darn cool. And then finally, actually, I'm going to turn it over to you, Josh. So we're talking about Sid and Ovi here, and then we'll talk about Howardchuk after.
Love the Sid, sign of the times. One of my favorite cards in the auction tonight. I just think that for the value, to get a rookie auto like that is pretty amazing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was but that was my comment there.
That was
If
it.
something
Okay,
happened.
well, we have Laurent in the house who says that this is his, hoping for a few more bids. Well, good luck to you. And I wouldn't discourage people from bidding on this card. It's a rookie auto on card. The auto looks really good. Yeah, the auto looks really good to me. And I don't mind trying to help you out a bit here, Laurent. Oh, I just noticed right over here, his autograph did on the S, it did come over the sleeve a little bit, which is going to be glossier than the autograph area. So it bubbles a bit here, but I don't know that that's going to bother me too much, if at all. Pretty solid autograph overall on this particular Sign of the Times. And listen, if you like Sign of the Times, this is the first one by Sidney Crosby. So I do think it's an important card. So there you go, Laurent. We'll see if we can help you out, get you some extra bids there. And I wouldn't do that if I didn't think it was worth it. Let me just put that out there. I'm not going to promote a card for someone in the chat if I don't think that if I don't want anyone in our audience to bid on it, because I don't think they'd be making a smart move. But in this case, I have no problem with that. So there you go. And thank you for joining us tonight. Laurent, the Currency Project says, love the full player images on those. Such nice designs. Yes, definitely. And Lapper also likes the Sid Sign of the Times. And then we have Dale Hawerchuk. So my main player PC, I have a copy of this card in my collection. Had to give Dale Hawerchuk some love here. Rest in peace. He passed away from cancer at the age of 57 a couple years ago. But this is the emblems of endorsement on card auto. Dual game worn patch, only 15 copies made. And that's my guy right there. When I look at this face, Josh, when I look at these colors in this jersey, this is probably the most nostalgic color pattern and face that I in my life is Dale Hawerchuk and these colors. So I love it. Not the most interesting patches, but the copy I have doesn't have, my patches aren't any more interesting than these ones are. So that's pretty much what you get with this card. Lapper says, so you can't promote my Pokemon cards, Jeremy. I mean, I no, that's easy. That's an easy no for me, Lapper. I'm not that guy. Not at all. Sports card professors, what do you think of the heat maps on the Hawerchuk card from NBA? Not looking at them, professor, so not too sure. But you have my curiosity, so we're going to go look at them, actually. Let me just close a bunch of these windows here. Let's look at the heat map. Let's look at the heat map and see what it shows us. So NBA takes a look at these cards on behalf of PWCC and shows in these images here. So it's corners. I mean, yeah, that's what you expect on a card that's 130 points thick. You expect corners, so I'm not surprised. What I don't understand about the heat map is why it comes in so far onto the card. Is there damage all the way to the far edge of here? I don't think so. I think they're just trying to make sure you see it and you see that there is corner damage. And on the back, there seems to be some damage across the top. Let's take a look and see what they're seeing. I'm going to open this up. So, yeah, I don't know that. See, they heat mapped over here, but they didn't heat map this over here. And to me, this is way worse than what you're seeing over here. Now, let me just say that I don't care about any of this damage on this card. Nothing here would detract me from buying it because it's there's only 15 of them. And it's been handled by the player, and it's 130 points thick. Like, I don't even care about this damage, but I'm curious, though, where'd that heat map go? Like, what they saw here, because I don't see, it comes up to just before the D, and here it's to the right of the D. I don't know. I think the heat map, maybe the heat map science isn't fully ready yet or something, because it didn't seem to work on the back of this card. As for the corners on the front, let's just see. Yeah, I mean, there's slight corner issue there, but it's slight. Slight. Nothing that. Listen, I buy cards like this all day long, and I don't even fret about it. But I also don't grade these cards. So there we go. Well, thanks, Professor, for pointing that out. Lapper says no, just kidding, no Pokemon here, but good to know where you stand. Josh, anything to add to that whole Hawerchuk heat map discussion?
A really cool card. I'm just on the total same page as you. It's everything is what you would expect in a cup card, come right out of the pack.
Exactly. Right out of the pack. Exactly. All right, continuing on. I do think that Steven Stamkos is underappreciated. If I do, it slips. I don't like using the term undervalued because the value is what it was on this moment in time in accordance with the people who were watching the card, and the ones who weren't, well, they weren't there. So I don't know that would even make an argument that the card could or should be worth more. I prefer to say underappreciated. I think Stamkos is underappreciated. Well, I got a quick story, Josh. I was at a trade night here at Maple Leaf Sports back in 2009, just after SP Authentic came out, and we were playing Pack Wars. We'd break a box. Everyone would get 1 or 2 packs, depends on how many people want to take part. You'd pay for your packs, and then we used to call it out like tallest player or heaviest player or shortest player, best plus minus, something that was on the card that you could actually, maybe it was card number closest to 185, whatever it would be. Anyway, one time we played that game and I opened up my pack and I didn't know what the contest was going to be yet. I pull it out and I'm like, I hit the Stamkos and I had to pass it over to someone else that won it for me. Like that's a tough pill to swallow.
Ouch.
Yeah. I got super lucky on some pack wars there over the years too, so I didn't mind. But yeah, I once pulled one of these that way. But I love this card. I love the design. I love Stamkos' autograph. It's a PSA 10, $650. I mean, Stamkos was the king of the hobby for a couple of years, the king of hockey cards for a couple of years. Forget about Gretzky for a minute. As far as rookies go, he led the way. And then the next year, Jonathan Tavares came, and together, those guys were the 2 key guys for a while. So I love the card. And I think he's still playing. He's still the captain, and he still scores goals. So an underappreciated card and rookie. But again, he's in that Bermuda Triangle that you guys refer to as for the Florida team. So there's that, the regional pressure on him as well. What about you, Josh? Steven Stamkos.
Super underrated. You look at his career numbers, not a lot of active players have more than 500 goals. The list is pretty short right now, and he's won cups. He's captained his team for a long, long time and just been a great representative of the game. And so, this is a card that any fan of hockey, I think, would want to own. And I agree with you, too. Love his autograph. It's so... he takes time on it.
Yeah. And then we have a 2010 Tyler Seguin rookie card. This is from Upper Deck Ice. It's at a 99. The Ice rookies for a lot of years were among the most hotly pursued, maybe the second most pursued rookie card for a hockey player after the Cup RPA. And that would only apply to those that were numbered at a 99. They did tier the rookies in these years. And at first there were only 6, I think, rookie cards out of 99, and then they played with that number a little bit over the years, I believe. But Tyler Seguin, he's still playing for the Dallas Stars. He's 2 wins away from getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. He's not the offensive leader there that he would have been in the past on some of his teams, but a great player nonetheless. BGS 9.5. It seems to be a True Gem Plus, 3 9.5s and a 10. $74. Like this card, I would go on a limb and say this card has sold for over $1,000 in the past. This is absolutely a steal at $74 right now. So, now listen, I feel it's a steal. I'm not saying that you buy it now, you're going to be able to make money on it next week. It just feels really cheap to me. I don't know how this isn't at least $200 right now. But again, I don't follow Tyler Seguin. I'm just kind of going off a gut with those comments. Josh, why don't you opine here on this card and Tyler Seguin for a moment?
Biggest thing that stands out to me is I just love the design of the card. They did a great job with the Ice Premiers rookies that year. 2010? Just a great looking card.
Where'd it go? Here we go. Let me just close down some of these windows here for a moment. Here it is. Let's just take a closer look. Yeah, it is a nice design. And this is an acetate card. So it's not going to be completely see-through because I do believe it has printing on all of its surface. But as you can just see from scrolling in, you can start right in here. You can see some of the back of the card. And that's deliberate. That's the way these things were made, and they are in every year. But a lot of people wanted these. They wanted the Crosby and the Ovechkin, and then then they wanted the Malkin and the Jordan Staal in 06, 07, and so on and so forth until you get to the 2010 series, the 11 series with the well, I guess the 10 with Taylor Hall, 11 would have Scheifele and Nuge. But in any event, a pretty cool card, and I think, well, it's got a bid now. Maybe that's one of you guys out there, and if it is, I'm glad to see, because I think this card is a good value right now. And then we have, now this is basically a rookie card. This is a Nathan MacKinnon. It actually has the RC logo right there. It's a Nathan MacKinnon Prime colors from Panini Prime, and as you can see, it's just a huge piece of game worn jersey, not manufactured, not player worn. These are game worn, and there's only 14 of this particular card. Now these are really all one of ones, not technically, because, and I only say because the patch is so different on all of them, so they're not really one of ones, but they're all different and unique. So keep that in mind. This is looks to be the bottom of the Yeti's foot from I believe the shoulder patch. But it's really is like a rookie card. $350. I've seen these sell. I've had a few of them in the past, not in the not too distant past. And this is right around where I expect this one to be. I could see it getting a little bit more money than where it is right now. But a nice card overall. So there we go. How about you, Josh, on the MacKinnon Prime Colors?
Love it. One of my favorites. And when Troy and I were talking about this one on our show, we both agreed that even though this card doesn't have an auto, I don't care. The patch is just so amazing that I think an auto would almost distract from it. And normally as collectors, we like the rookie patch and the auto on our cards. That seems to be the general preference. But I'm a big fan of these cards. I love the intricacy of the patch. And I think whoever gets this tonight is going to be lucky.
Yeah, they are cool cards. I also like the Prime Colors. I have 5 left. I once bought a collection that had over 300 of them, and I've
really?
I've been through all, but I think I have the best 5 or 6 left, including that Ovechkin, the whole eagle head.
Oh wow!
And maybe I have 6 of them left, but I have the Mika Kiprasov, the full Alberta logo shoulder patches in there. Again, just some of my favorite cards. And right here, Joshua Sherber says, love those Panini Prime. I have a handful of Jason Zucker from the year before. Well, very nice to hear, Josh. You're not alone. A lot of people do love these cards. Continuing along, Nathan MacKinnon, SP Authentic Future Watch Auto rookie card at a $9.99, PSA 9. It's at $850. I want to open this one up, Josh, and just see why it's only graded a 9, if I can even tell, because centering is tougher to assess, but you can see, right, it's going to be that distance right there to this distance here. It's within 10. It's within a 10 on centering, I believe, to be for sure. The autograph's very nice. He's got a big kind of sloppy sort of autograph, but this one is laid down pretty well. I mean, it's not, he lightens up his pressure coming up here and bit over here, but I don't know that I've seen one where the whole autograph is as nice as, say, this 9 is, where it's nice and thick and bold blue. I had a copy. I actually sold it at the Edmonton Expo earlier this month. Yeah, I did. So a great card nonetheless. And, I don't know why it's graded a 9, but this is one of those situations where you decide for yourself, if a 9 is going to sell for 2,000 if a 10 is going to sell for low 2,000s and a 9 is going to sell for, high hundreds, you might want to save yourself $1,000 and just grab this one. It seems to be a very nice copy to me. So, and here's Aaron says a lot of those MacKinnon Future Watch autos seem to be fading too. I wonder. I haven't noticed that. I wonder if it's because people put them out in the light. Is that because they've been exposed to light, or is that just something scientific in the ink and the cardboard that is causing that to happen? But this one looks pretty good to me as it sits. And then, actually, we're going to go one card at a time now, Josh. So take it away on the MacKinnon.
Really like this card. I like the Future Watch auto design from that year, from the 2013 set. And Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's like it's hard to really point out what the flaw is on this card, and it seems like about a 50% discount to get the PSA 9 over the PSA 10, and that could be a smart buy.
Yeah, nines are hashtag nines are fine. You know, I'm really starting to believe that, especially when there is such a small difference between nines and tens, and especially just with the inconsistency as far as the grading goes in general. You just don't know. One day it could be a 9, one day it could be a 10. So you may as well save your money on the card that might have been a 10 if it was submitted the next day. You just don't know. And then we have a 2015 SP Authentic Gretzky Connor McDavid franchise icons combo card, numbered out of 199. No autographs, which I think is fine. Like you said earlier, I don't want autographs on all my cards. Sometimes I just want a card without the autograph. I love autograph cards as well, but not on everything. I love simple patch cards and simple cards as well, with just a serial number like this one. Not to say autographs wouldn't be cool on here, but I like it as it is. This is a rookie year card for Connor McDavid, paired with the great one, PSA 9, $450. I like this card. Now, I don't like it enough that I need it for my own collection. Like, it's not a card that I would buy for my PC, but I can understand why other people would. I mean, you're getting two of the best players of all time on one card, and it's serial numbered out of 199, and it is a rookie year card for Connor McDavid. So, this is a card where I do recommend it. Like, I do like it, and I appreciate it for what it is, but not enough to add it to my own collection. So take that as you will, and proceed accordingly as you consider adding either this copy tonight or another copy on another night. Josh, what about you? What are your thoughts on this card?
Really like the card. Just like you, it doesn't bother me that there's no auto on it. I was just looking up quick in card ladder sale history to see what the other options are in 2015 for a combined Gretzky and McDavid card. And it seems like that if unless you have $30,000-$40,000 and want to get one of the UD Black dual autos or something like that, that there wasn't a lot of options. And so, given this is out of 199, that I think it's a fairly affordable yet somewhat scarce opportunity to own a rookie year McDavid paired with Wayne Gretzky, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I feel myself talking myself into actually wanting a copy now. So, but again, you can't buy everything. I can't buy everything. So you got to draw the line somewhere. Next up, we have one Connor McDavid Young Gun BGS 9.5. Appears to be a true gem. All four 9.5s. So, there's not much more to say about these cards. There's no shortage of them. You don't need to rush to buy one. You can, if you don't buy one tonight, you can buy one next Sunday on PWCC or the Sunday after that. But at the same time, Young Guns, as we know, are like currency in our hobby. And so just decide if this is the one you want, but take a look at it. Don't just trust the grade. Take a look at it and make sure that it has going for it what is important to you in terms of look at the corners, look at the edges, make sure that the grading company did not make a mistake or there were no oversights as to something missing, like on that Mario Lemieux we saw earlier on, that CSG 8.5. Next row, we've got the man of the hour. The man of the hour, Matthew Tkachuk. This is the image that is on the thumbnail. That's what's behind our screen right now that you're looking at. Is this one right here. One of my favorite players, even though he's no longer on my Calgary Flames, but I am cheering for him right now, and I would love to see him win a cup just to show Flames management how poorly they were running this team over the last couple of years, even though it didn't appear to be that way. I think it was more the dressing room and the coach. But anyway, we're getting away from cards here. But this card, Josh, you guys talked about it on the podcast 3 days ago, so I'm going to turn it over to you. And what's been going on lately with the Matthew Tkachuk Young Gun in a PSA 10?
Well, just recently set a record, and who knows, it might set another record tonight. And to me, what's kind of crazy about that is, for the last almost year now, right? The economy's been a little weird. The sports card market's been a little soft. We don't see too many base Young Gun record sales, and haven't seen those in a number of months. And so it's a clear sign that there's been a hobby moment, or whatever term you use, for Matthew Tkachuk, and we're in it. And interestingly enough, too, We also just had a record sale for Bobrovsky's Young Guns PSA 10. So these Florida guys are getting a little bit of love. But getting back to Tkachuk, he's had 2 amazing regular seasons back to back. He's a Hart Trophy finalist this year. He's not going to win. Of course, we know who's going to win that. He's been clutch in the playoffs, just had the game-winning, series-clinching goal, and has a great personality, is someone the NHL should market. He's only 25 years old. It's an amazing opportunity, I think, for the NHL to help grow the game. And it's fun to see guys like this in situations like this have a little bit of a hobby moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. It doesn't surprise me. He's a hard worker. He never gives up. He grinds, and he's one of those players that you hate when he's on the other team, but you love when he's on your team. And I grew to love him and having him, love him as a player on our Calgary Flames here. So
the only other, now I got a question for you, because Troy and I have been talking a little bit about, I'm starting to think that a true Matthew Tkachuk card has the mouth guard out of half of his mouth. And so this one doesn't. So that depends on your flavor as a collector. That could be an issue for you or not. But I'm definitely in the camp where I love the mouth guard hanging out of the mouth. And those are the cards that I gravitate to of his.
Yeah, I hear you. He rarely has it in. And here he probably forgot it at home on this day.
I'm guessing.
And then we have a Tage. Okay, so this is now sold, the Tage Thompson PSA 10. I thought, let's look at this, because this guy came off a great year, a couple of great years, I believe. He seems to be poised for a wonderful future as time goes on here. Sold for $204. And then a Rupe Hintz SP Authentic Future Watch Auto at a $9.99 in a PSA 10 holder is at $190, and he's one of the leaders, offensively speaking, on the Dallas Stars right now during these playoffs. So a card to consider. It's a funny autograph. It looks more, I don't know what that looks like some sort of one of those radar. I don't know what that is, but one of those things that you see in hospital rooms. But in any event, I want to point it out. I think $190 is a good price for it. We see Future Watch autos that sell for a lot more than that for a lot lesser of players, or at least younger players who haven't done what he's doing currently. So, Josh, what do you think about these two, the Tage Thompson and the Rupe Hintz?
I'm a big fan of Tage Thompson, and I'm really excited to see what happens in Buffalo next year. And when you look at the pricing, it's kind of been bouncing around from the low 100s. This is actually a little on the higher side of the spectrum where it's been lately, but it's kind of getting, for a lot of these guys, into that off-season buying territory, off-season dip. They've been out of sight, out of mind for a month or month and a half now. And, so I'll be looking probably at some Thompson cards this summer. And then Rupe Hintz is interesting. We talk about Tkachuk kind of finally breaking through, having his hobby moment. Hintz has not, of course, I think the overall player, not even close to Tkachuk, but he's been really, really good. He's got 24 points in 18 playoff games so far for the Dallas Stars, and his pricing is still really, really low. And for whatever maybe it's his age a little bit, being 26, and not that that's old, but hobby collectors and investors really prefer the younger guys more so than guys that are kind of firmly in their prime already. But I've been a big fan of watching him play a little bit more closely in these playoff series, where I admit hadn't seen him that much up until this point.
Yeah, no, fair comments across the board there for sure. So that's the end of page 1. Page 2, we only had 6 cards. So I just want to scroll up and see if anything else is sold. These all seem to be alive. The McKinnon Prime Colors sold for $420. These are still going. The Trache sold for $51. Someone got a nice card there for pretty cheap. Those ones are still going. This Lemieux is still going. It's at $625. Why do I? Oh, that's where it was before. I thought it was at 8, but no. The Beliveau sold for $960. Well, I think somebody got themselves a heck of a card there for a nice value. I think that PWCC could have even gone higher than the A on that. That's how much I like that card. All right.
What did the Flurry go for? Did Aaron get it?
the Flurry is still going. It's at
Oh.
$92 right now. So it is still going. Before we look at the next page, a couple of comments here that we hadn't gone over yet. The Currency Project says McKinnon seems to sign rather lightly, which I think is contributing to the fading. Yeah, could be. Goes on to ask, do we know, has Upper Deck ever done a buyback with dual autos? If not, that Gretzky McDavid, which is, where is that? Right here, would be a really, yeah, if Upper Deck were to do a buyback on these and get these autographed, that would be a heck of a card. A heck of a card. Cards AH, thank you. The card he grabbed, the doop, 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 that thing, thank you. Cards AH.
Yep.
Says, Tage scares me. His prices blew up, as they should have. I mean, he went on a tear, which is great, but Sabres are always a tough market. I don't know that, yeah, I mean, they're a small market, but are they a tough market? Because they have very loyal fans there. They've been around a long time, but it's a smaller market team. But I don't know. I you know, some players have done okay out of there. So I think it may be 50-50 on that one myself. All right. All 5 of the 6 have sold. So we can go through these relatively quickly. I wanted to look at the Heiskanen Young Gun 10, Josh, simply because he is the best defenseman, I believe, on the Dallas Stars, who I think are a great team. And if this year isn't theirs, they're not going away after this year, I don't think. We have also sold is the Gretzky signature renditions from the Cup on Card Auto. Hoisting the Cup did $720, and a Carter Verhaeghe PSA 10. Listen, I mean, this guy's on a tear in the playoffs here for the Florida Panthers right now. No longer playing for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Does $62. Now, I want to say one thing about this, which is over the last 30 years that I've been watching hockey closely, which has been even more than 30, every year in the playoffs, there is a player who sort of comes out of nowhere, not exactly nowhere, but comes out you're not expecting and has a great playoff run. The poster boy for that, I don't know if anyone will remember, was John Druce. John Druce back in 91 probably, when the Kings went on their playoff run, whatever year that was, back in that era. John Druce had this fantastic year in the playoffs. His rookie card started going, instead of going for $1, they were going for $5 or $10 back then. And then he went back and fell back into obscurity. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Carter Verhaeghe, but I do think that this price might reflect that some people are thinking that, listen, maybe it's just a one-off season for him. Is he really going to be a player who's going to be consistently this good moving forward? I don't know the answer to that, but this price, I think, is low for what he's currently doing, and maybe that's why. Josh, over to you on this whole row if you have some comments, please.
I think that a guy like Miro Heiskanen has really benefited from, again, them being in the playoffs and people having the opportunity to see him play, because I sure have gained much more of an appreciation for his game, and it's made me look at his cards a little bit differently too. And so, he's really, really good. And like you said, they're going to be around for a while. I love the Gretzky Cup card. I love cards that capture a moment, and particularly a great and happy moment where the player is showing a whole bunch of emotion. And so, with him hoisting the cup and the look on his face and having that autograph, I'm sure I could see that this picture taking Wayne back to that moment as he's signing it. And I don't know, for whatever dorky reason, I just think that that's cool. And yeah, Carter Verhaeghe is just one of those guys who seems to be a big game producer, but can never quite get over the hump in the regular season. And then there's the fact that there's only so many players that on each team that can really have hobby relevance. And so if you make a list of Panthers who should be getting attention for the hobby, we're lucky if we get 2 or 3 guys that have a little hobby relevance, and he's definitely not in the top 3 in Florida. And so, but you're right, he could go out and have 2 goals in Game 1 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and we tend to, almost like in a romantic way, he has a game like that, and we almost picture that it's unlocked something in him that's now going to turn him into Austin Matthews or something like that, versus taking a breath and just realize, hey, he's a good player, he had a good game. But yeah, I could see him scoring 2 games, Game 1 in the Cup Finals, and that going for $140.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right, let's go to some more comments here before we go on, everybody. Good evening, Peeps says, where's the Tkachuk Young Gun? Gotta believe it's on the rise. it is the Tkachuk Young Gun, which we saw sold for $312. Is that a new record, Josh, as far as you know?
I would have to check Terapeak to be absolutely certain, but I think it might be, because I think 305 was the previous record. It depends if one sold on eBay in the last couple of days, but I don't know. I mean, this card could hit 350, 375. It just depends on how well they do in the finals. So I wouldn't be surprised there.
Let's see what happens. Cards AH throws out the names Kiviranta and Paling, and then says both rookies who had a glash. I don't know what a glash is, but
had a flash.
A flash in a playoff series. Yeah, these guys did. Paling scored like 4 goals in a game, I think, for the Montreal Canadiens a few years ago. The Montreal Canadiens fans are rabid fans. They went nuts on his cards, and he's done like nothing ever since. He still plays. I think he's a role player, but he's not a hobby darling by any means, except for that like one game he had back 3 or 4 seasons ago. And to this Cards AH, I think is kind of referring to what I was saying earlier about Verhaeghe having like, and John Druce back in the early 90s. The only key difference is, yes, Cards AH, I agree with you. Those are both rookies who've had that flash, but I was just talking about any player, not necessarily a rookie. But again, I do appreciate your comment as well. Lapper says, I have a copy of that Gretzky. He's talking about this one right here. Love the card. Solid price. Held up through the 2020 peak. And then the professor says, if I get a card graded, I will give you feedback on the heat maps. And he picked up the Howard Chuck. Okay, good. Nice to see Professor picked up a card of my guy, Dale Howard Chuck. Nice to see, nice to see. And now the final 3 cards that we're looking at tonight. So we had 2 card of Verhaeghe Young Guns. One did $62. The other one also did $62.40. We have a Sidney Crosby 2020 Metal Universe Retro Precious Metal Gems PSA 8, which is basically like a PSA 10 for a PMG. Only did $372. I don't know. It's probably like his 8th PMG that he's ever had, or something. Maybe not 8th, maybe his 5th or 6th that he's ever had. So as we get further along, I think people start to tap out a little bit. But it is the retro, which a lot of people like. I love the card. I don't own one, but I do love the card, and I think somebody got a great card at what I think is a really nice price at $372 there. And then finally, we've got also 2020 Metal Universe Austin Matthews. This is the Retro Purple Spectrum. So it's not considered a PMG, but I believe it is numbered. Yeah, numbered out of 199, also PSA 8, Pop 4, none graded higher as a PSA 8, sold for $30. I mean, I don't think you can really get grading done with shipping and everything for $30. So a nice card, and to slab it up if that's something that you'd like to do. Josh, comments on these last 2 cards?
I'm a little surprised, like you, that the Crosby went for $372. I don't know what's going on with PMGs, if it's just the card market as a whole, or if I tended to think it was a little bit of. I know they just did it with rookies, but I wish Upper Deck in the most recent release of Skybox Metal Universe didn't go back to the well with the 97 retro design. It just feels like that. I don't want that to get watered down because it is such an iconic design. Yeah.
Sorry to say, it's too late. It's already getting watered down.
And then it's really interesting too. And what a great buy on the Austin Matthews. The Purple Spectrum is like the first cousin of the PMG. It's as close as you can get without being a PMG. And like you said, again, it follows under the same grading or condition scale that a PMG would. So a PSA 8 would be considered a top grade for any card of this ilk. And you can get it graded and shipped for that. So if somebody collects Austin Matthews, I would be pretty excited, I think, at that price to have that card.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, $30, why not? So yeah, agree with all those comments. And the Currency Project here says PMG values have softened quite a bit the past few months. Too many in the last 2 metal releases. I completely agree with that. And I've said to Billy, you gotta stop with the PMGs already, but I don't think they can. I don't. People still, when you're really customizing your product for group breakers, which they really, I believe they do. PMGs let the group breakers yell and scream and get all excited, and so That's just sort of where it is right now. Collectors Canada says, I feel bad for whoever bought the 2020 Crosby PMG Gold 101 for $165K. Listen, that would not get the same price today for sure, but that's different because it's the one and only ever so far. Maybe there's been another one since, but it's the first ever gold. And that I think is very, very special. Is it $165K special? It was at the time. It made sense. Now it probably doesn't make as much sense. I don't know what that would what that would sell for now, but I don't feel so bad. I feel as bad for them as I do for anybody who bought cards kind of back at that time, and all those cards we bought back then have come down in value. Michael F says PMG will stand the test of time. Well, we would have said that about jersey cards back in the day until they just hammered the hobby with jersey cards. Now you find them in dollar bins. So I don't know about that, Michael F. I think the early ones will. The early ones I believe will for sure, but not all of them. I just don't think we can say that. Similar to jersey cards, the 96 Upper Deck jersey cards will stand the test of time. Even the 97s will stand the test of time. But after that, it's just like, do I need another jersey card? So some of my thoughts. The Professor, non-hockey card pickup, Mr. T, 2023 Panini Red Prism. What do you mean? What is that, Mister? What is he signing in? What Prism product was he in? I have no idea. But sounds really cool, Professor. I love the sounds of that. Josh, any more comments on PMGs or Mr. T?
Love Mr. T. Growing up, was a big fan of the A-Team watching that show. So
me too.
Much props for picking that. I like you said, I'll have to now go kind of do a little research and find out what the card was. And yeah, I don't know about the P. And I was just trying to think, and maybe you would know this better than me, is I feel like that with the retro and tribute, getting kind of back to that a little bit, that Upper Deck has really gone to the well and leveraged those kind of great cards from the past. And I also think, though, on the flip side, that there's been this past year particularly, there's been some new cards that they put out that I think have a chance to also last the test of time. Like population counts are real popular. The 16-bit cards have been real popular, and there's others. And my question is, was there a drought in sort of just new inserts or new fun parallels to chase, like maybe between 2015, 16, 17, that kind of range where Upper Deck feels like they keep having to go back to these same years and kind of use these designs over and over again, that they can't leverage some of those designs from 5-6 years ago? Or I guess I don't know what the issue is, but that whole concept of watering down is starting to concern me more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it with jambalayas. I'm feeling with platinum portraits, all these awesome cards that came out originally in the 90s and then have being kind of reimagined by Upper Deck in recent years. It gets to the point where I'm not going to collect any of them anymore myself, because I want the early ones, and then I would like something new. So in that, in the two versions we've seen of Metal Universe, we've had some new ideas. The Alons. I'm not going to the pitter patters, the cheddars. I mean, some of them are funny, some of them are quirky, but at least they're nice, or they're original. The Records collection came out for the first time. Hopefully we don't see that again. Just be done with it, please. Don't go back to the well on that one again. Once is enough on that particular one. But if they need to keep on doing PMGs and jambalayas and platinum portraits every year, it's going to chase me away 100%. I just will not be collecting them at all. I will look for something different and unique, something new, because it just gets too repetitive. Back in the old days, it was a completely different design. Look how different the 79 design was from the 85 design. I mean, it's just, they mixed it up. And of course, they didn't need as many designs back then as they do now. They only did one set back then. Now they do 20 sets and 20 parallels and 20 inserts. I mean, they are challenged to come up with so many new designs. They must be.
What if they did this? And let me know how this sounds to you. What if they said, we're going to produce Metal Universe every year. We're going to have PMGs every year, but we're only going to do it for the rookies. And so if you're Cole Caulfield, you'll have a 2021 PMG, and that's it.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, that at least stops you from watering down the McDavids, the Matthews, the Gretzkys, the Lemieux, the Ovechkins, and all that. Like, just stop with those guys, please. It's enough. I'm not going after any of them anymore, personally. And I was hot and heavy before it caught on mainstream. I was hot and heavy on these from the Fleer Retro, the 2012 Fleer Retro, the 2013 Fleer Showcase. 2014, 15, 16, I think from 12 to 16, they made some awesome PMGs. One of the years wasn't so nice, but aside from that, they're all pretty cool. And that's the era that I'm going to continue to focus on, is that 2012 to 2016. Anything post 2016, I'm okay.
And now they're compounding the issue by adding EPAC parallels and achievements and variations. So not only is there a 2020 and 2021 McDavid Jambalaya, but there's a different variation that comes out of EPAC, and it's hard to tell what the difference is in a lot of cases. And again, it just muddies the waters, or whatever analogy you want to use for it. But in my mind, it's a risk to the long-term value and collectability of those cards.
I'm with you 100% on that, 100%. All right, let's go to some more comments here. The Mr. T is at a WWE. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, nice. Professor. Michael F says, I agree with the earliest PMGs, though that thought, but they're highly sought after and liquidity is still there now. Sure, but liquidity doesn't mean value. Liquidity does not mean value. They are becoming commodity type cards, the way I'm seeing them, and just a liquid card is, encroaching upon commodity card. And I'll just say again, liquidity does not mean valuable. It just means that they are being traded regularly. Currency Project says UD needs some new blood in the design studio for the metal product. I love arena design, but it's time to think outside the box a bit. Yeah, you'll be hard pressed to get me to say a bad thing about arena design, because I love Jean. I love what she's done, and she's not the one building the sets. She is only doing the design. If they say to her, build a PMG, or design a PMG, she designs a PMG. So I wonder if any of the new inserts were her brainchild. I just don't know, but I have to think maybe some were. But
I actually have a comment about that, where I tend to kind of agree with Currency Project, just in the sense that, again, I agree with both of you. First of all, you can't really critique arena design and anything that they've done for the hobby. Some of the most iconic and most beautiful cards ever designed. But what I would say is that if you ask Van Gogh to paint a painting, it's going to look like a Van Gogh. So at some point, they're going to have, every artist has that sort of hallmark. And every singer has that. It's the same thing too, right? And so I think that by expanding their portfolio of designers and getting that, and it's not just it's more of a new perspective that could or may help the product.
Yeah, that was an excellent comment there, that, no matter what, it's a Van Gogh is going to look like a Van Gogh, and an arena design insert may look like what we expect an arena design insert to look like. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Lapper says they went back to ice carvings, big men on ice. Golds are one of his favorites, and a throwback is, yeah, that's true. They leveraged those old designs in the most recent product, along with putting in Pitter Patter and Cheddar, some new ones. The ice picks that Mitch plays guitar with. And I'm fine with that. But don't do ice carvings again next year. Don't do big man on ice again. Just retire it now. Retire it for at least 10 years. Michael goes on to say, now I'm scared if they continue to print yearly the same PMG. As I see it now, it's a few PMG sets with a retro design that draws me to them with the nostalgia. Yeah, you know what, Michael? You'll see how you do as the subsequent releases come out. And if you become tiresome of it, time will tell. Time will tell. Please report back. Love to hear from you again. Ladies man, what is up? Good to see you. Professor says if a PSA 8 PMG is equal to 10, then what's a PSA 10 equal to? Yeah, good point. Lapper says, I prefer some of the achievements. People seem to lack an understanding of what is scarce and what isn't in terms of platinum portraits, jambalaya, metallics, etc. Yeah, it doesn't always. Yeah, I hear you, Lapper. For me, it doesn't always come down to scarcity. Like, I like my cards pack pulled. I don't know that I want my cards like e-pack exclusive for me. And maybe I'll evolve out of that headspace one day. But for now, when you have a jambalaya from Metal Universe, and then you've got a jambalaya achievement because you had to get 10 of them and then fold them up into one, and however you had to get there, it's the scarcity isn't like what the cards are the same, but for the picture on them, like the variant, these photo variants that you see in Topps baseball never appealed to me. That's just not my thing. Not saying they're not appealing to others, but not for me. So, but that said, I may be the dumb one here, and maybe going for those more scarce achievement cards will prove to be beneficial long term. Doesn't mean that I would prefer them for my collection, but financially, maybe they would be beneficial. Josh, anything to add before I go on to the last couple comments and we wind up?
Yeah, but a follow-up question based off this one is, so I don't know if you saw, but along with extended series coming out on June 7th, Fleer Ultra is also coming back, but it's an e-pack exclusive. And so my question along that is, would you prefer that Upper Deck just picks sets and makes those e-pack exclusive versus kind of the mix of hobby and e-pack, where maybe then you wouldn't have some of these issues where you have cards that came out of hobby boxes, and then parallels or achievements out of e-pack, and confusion there is that we could almost segregate in our minds, okay, this was an e-pack product, this was a physical product.
Yeah, I do prefer that. Now, I'm not speaking as a card shop owner. Shop owners would say no, give us a piece of everything, but I'm not a shop owner, so I'm not going to speak on their behalf, but I just did. So that would be their perspective. My perspective as a collector is, I don't have an issue with something being e-pack exclusive like the upcoming Fleer Ultra. That I have no problem with that. And maybe I'll find a card or two that I like and I want to add it to my collection. It's not pack pulled, physically pack pulled. It's e-pack pulled, but at least you couldn't get it both ways. And it's not, they're not trying to bring you onto that platform just to get these achievements and that, which I don't think I'm not saying that's a bad thing that they're doing. That's their business model, and it's very successful for them, so all the power to them. But we have the power as collectors and consumers to decide what we want to buy and add to our collections, and that's all I'm expressing is, those decisions that I've made. But I'd rather that e-pack was e-pack, physical was physical, and then there's none of that crossover. It also helps people who don't want to see all the hits go to e-pack, or how do they decide what hits go there. And we've all taught, you and I have had many discussions with people at Upper Deck over the last couple of years, and they'll tell you that it's all done very fairly, and I certainly believe them. But my preference would be, as you said, keep the e-pack products on e-pack as exclusives, and keep the hobby products as hobby products, and maybe keep retail as retail, like 3 totally different channels there and products to serve those channels.
The one negative of that I heard that made a lot of sense to me, and I think it makes sense with a set like Fleer Ultra, which there's a lot of nostalgia to. People are excited coming back. If you're a set collector, the e-pack thing is going to be a bummer because most of the base cards will be digital only in that case, and you literally won't be able to physically collect that set. But I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so all those cards have ended, so we're gonna stop the screen share and just go to the rest of the comments, guys. We're gonna wrap up here in a couple minutes, so please halt the comments for the rest of the show so we can wind up the program again for this evening. Professor says, Josh, any insights from your interview with Billy Celio? He mentioned something about art crossing over from Marvel to hockey. Anything you can inform the professor on for this?
Yeah, what I think he was referring to there is I know in 2023-24 Series 1, which the sell sheet is, or sale sheet, whatever they call it, is out, he's kind of taken a refresh on the portraits insert design, and he commissioned an artist to actually draw original or paint or create original art for each of those cards. And I think the one on the sell sheet is McDavid sitting in a throne with a scepter. And that's just one of the designs. Each one will have their own unique theme. And I think that's what he was referring to within that specific interview.
All right. Thank you so much, Lapper. I appreciate that comment. Currency Project, it wasn't meant as a critique against, I didn't take it that way. Totally agree. They are iconic. Josh is right. I think it would be great if the architects of the product came up with something different. Yeah, and the architects is really Billy and Tony and on the sets that they work on. And listen, let's not be hard on these guys. They do their best to come up with new inserts as well, and I think they do a good job of it. They really do. And I think we have to give them a concession on their time and how much time they have to work on all these sets. They are pumping out lots of sets every year, so it's almost it's easier for them to go back to the well and use some of these designs because they can't focus all their time on just new designs to fill out the product. So they're really walking the fence on a lot of this stuff and where they allocate their time. But all that said, we as collectors, we don't really care about their time. It's like, don't water down the PMGs, don't water down the jambalayas, etc. Currency Project says we're more than happy to offer some new ideas. You guys should send a DM to Jean McLeod of Arena Design and offer your service. See if she can get you in the door over at Upper Deck. You never know. Lapper says the Fleer Ultra release is a really interesting test by Upper Deck, complete distribution change, and you have to wonder if we see more EPAC exclusive releases with that reduced overhead that they incur on EPAC. And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, Lapper. I think it is a bit of a test by Upper Deck, and depending on its success, we may see more of them. I think this is the first of many over the next several years, is my thought. Hello, Dave Snyder from Buffalo. Good to see you. Will we see a return to a $3 pack of sports cards? Maybe. Tough to say. I think eventually we may, or at least the $3 equivalent with inflation. So, and with that comment, we're going to wrap up. Josh, anything you'd like to shout out from the Gong Show side of things, or anything else before we end this show?
No, a new episode tomorrow morning. Thanks everyone for listening and watching and participating, and everyone in the U.S. have a happy Memorial Day tomorrow. Yeah, happy Memorial Day to all of our American friends. Tuesday on the channel on Sports Cards Live, Taking Stock with Dennis Zender, we will be discussing the issues between buying the card and not the grade, or buying the card or buying the grade. There are people who like to do both. So we will definitely be covering those. Dave Snyder puts in a last minute question. Do you think we are going to find out we are in a junk wax era? Oh, Lapper won the flurry. Congratulations. What'd that cost? That was like what, $120 or so? Congratulations, Aaron. I think that's a wonderful card. Dave, that's a big question. I think requires more time than we have right now. So my short answer is we're in an era. We're in a new era. And I don't know that we can say it's another junk wax, but it's an era that will be defined in a few years as we look back. So yeah, congrats on that, Aaron. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'll be back Tuesday night. I'll be back next Saturday with Jimmy Mahan from the Roadshow Cards franchise. Cheers to you all. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great week ahead, everybody. This episode is now over.